Yeah,
And
talk to us about Blue and Dodger, because Andrew and I have been reading the book, and I want to just say initially that your story about Blue and Dodger is very similar, not the same, but both my girls, my parents are rescues,
mhm.
and what I realized is that, like, well, they're employees of Suson Essentials, right? Because they're both healers out of this journey that we've all been on together, and they are part of the healing family, like Blue and Dodger are, right? But share what happened to Blue and Dodger, and then we're going to get into, um, you know, that I see you, because I think that your story is so incredible, and it helps us dovetail nicely into ICU.
Yeah,
Because you weren't
yeah.
being seen. You were a
No,
thing.
I wasn't. I was
You were a thing.
completely invisible, but surviving as best as I could, so I know that I'm a warrior for sure.
I know you're a warrior,
I
girl.
know, yeah, but so Dodger and Blue were really, amazing how they came to me because, I wasn't even ready, like, we had bought a almost 4-acre property in
Mhm.
Woodstock, Georgia. We had just bought it, and, I went down to Miami to visit a really dear friend of mine, Roy, and actually the treasurer, sits on the board of the, SPCA in Miami or in Homestead, Florida, for abused and abandoned horses. And so I was down visiting, and he said, let's go to the SPCA and see if you can find, somebody to adopt." And I'm like, I'm not really ready. I don't have fencing. I don't have anything yet on the property. He's like, well, let's go look anyway. So went to go look. I looked through 48 horses, most of them all Pasafinos, which really breaks my heart because Pasafino breed in Miami is so abused. Um, but anyway, I really was looking for just a good steady quarter horse, didn't find anybody. And then as we stopped next to this one stall, and I'm talking to the girl, Lori, that runs it, and Roy, and I put my arm on the stall door, and this horse knocks off my arm. And then I'm like, "Who are you?" And I put my arm back up, and he knocks my arm off
Like,
again.
good
And I
job.
see the little sign says Morgan, and I'm like, "Morgan." Now, I was also kind of interested in a Morgan. Morgans are very rare to find in Florida because 'cause they're mostly all from Vermont, right, in the north. So, that horse wanted to talk to me. And, I
Now
asked the
this
girl,
was
Lori.
Dodger or this was
This was
Blue?
Dodger. This was
Okay.
Dodger. And I said, "Can I go check him out? Can I go talk to him?" And she's like, "He's wild. I mean, I'm warning you." But she knew that I had horse experience, so she wasn't gonna worry so much, but she didn't know what he was gonna do because he had actually been taken out to the Everglades on purpose with a halter that was too small for him. He's got a
Yeah.
little indentation on his nose, and left for about 2 years to survive and fight pythons, alligators, packs of dogs, all kinds of wild things, hurricanes, everything in Florida, find food. The herd, at least when you're in a herd of a horse, you've got somebody there to watch over if you want to sleep. He didn't have anybody to do that. He never really slept, hardly, no food, nothing. So I walked into the stall, and he's at a big window in the back of his stall, and I walked to that window, and he turned around and followed me, and we both stood looking out that window over to the pastures that she had. And I said, "Well, what do you wanna do? You wanna come home with me?" And he goes, "I wanna go. Please adopt me. Please adopt me. Please adopt me." That's all I heard. And I said, "Okay, let me think about it." I went home that night, well, went to Roy's house that night, and I'm sleeping in the guest room, and I'm having all these dreams of Dodger. He's talking to me all night long. I woke up, I go out to the kitchen to grab some coffee, and Roy says, "I dreamt about that damn horse all night long." I said, "Yeah, me too." I said, "I think I'm supposed to take that horse." And so I did, and I brought him home, and I learned how to fence because I had to hurry up and get the fence up. But I had a lot of work to do with him because he did not trust, he was terrified of everything. And, he's turned into one of my best equine coaches. I mean, he really special, and they both know. And Blue came to me as a gift in a way, or as a rescue, a double rescue, because Blue had been bought as a breeding stallion.
Oh,
He's from the Blue Hancock line that is all cattle horses, cow horses, all those, and they're they're blue. They're literally blue gray. And a friend of mine had taken him. He was rescued from for the SPCA, and then the guy that bought him for breeding thought he'd be a better breeder if he was hungry and starving. So,
yeah. What
Dio,
is that concept? They do that with dogs too.
yeah, I know. So he adopted him. He trained him to become a reining champion,
Mhm.
and and then he couldn't keep him anymore because he went through a divorce, and he could hardly even afford to feed him. So I'd love that horse forever. Like when I met that horse, I was like, I want that horse one day. So Dio called me and said, "Do you want him? Because I can't keep him." I'm like, yeah, he's my biggest horse. I mean, he's huge. I cannot just swing up on him like I used to when I was a kid, right? So Blue was already broke and ridden and everything, but he'd never been an equine coach. He'd never really worked with people in that respect. My friend Sandy, that is an animal communicator. I had her
So
talk.
it's interesting. I was just thinking about her. I was thinking, I wish she was listening to this show. She's amazing.
She's very good. She's very good. And when I can talk to them, but when I want to go deeper, I get her, right? Because she'll go in and get some interesting stuff that I'm not picking up. So she went in and talked to them, and it was very interesting because after a little while of doing what I do with and using them for the working with people, they said to her, she goes, "Do you know what your job is?" And they both individual conversations. Blue said, "I change lives." And
Mm.
Dodger was just like, she said, "I saw him just skipping and singing a little song," and he said, "I help people change." And so they both know exactly what their jobs are. Now Blue, Dodger specializes more with women and children,
Okay.
and then Blue specializes more with people, well, mostly men, but people that have control issues. Um, and what I do is I just walk you out into the pasture and have you stand there, and then one of them, sometimes both of them, will walk right up to you, and they choose who's gonna work with you.
Right. So, and I think it's really important. And actually, I'm texting Sandy right now to, like, we're talking about you. Get on the air. Um, so, um, for people who are inclined to be with animals,
Mhm.
I think it's important to know that they choose you.
Yeah,
It's
they
like,
do.
yeah.